What's up, everybody? It's Zach McCarley, and I am going to do something that I've been planning to do for quite some time. I got a message on Facebook yesterday that basically it was someone asking if I was going to do any more tutorial videos. I actually put up a tutorial video on how to tear a deck of cards several different ways quite a while back, and it got me thinking that I really do, even though I'm busy, I need to start putting some more of these how-to videos out so people can actually see how to do some of these things. Hopefully it'll gain a little bit of interest. So that's really my motivation, is I want to spread the sport, or some of the things that I really like to do. I want to spread the popularity of those. So today I'm not tearing cards. I am going to be bending a 60 penny nail, or 60D penny nail. And that looks like this. So as you can see, for comparison, I'm not sure the exact length on this, but I haven't manipulated it in any way. It's still metal, of course. It's not a fake prop or anything like that. And you can see that it still has the head, and it still has the sharpened tip. Now, something that I like to do to change that up a little bit is I like to grind off the sharp end on a grinder and keep the head. And you can grind off the head as well, but I just leave it. It doesn't cause any harm. The biggest, one of the biggest issues with this is when you're bending, you need pads in your hands, and if you do bend this and you start to force in too early and your pad is not sufficient, the sharp end can pop through the pad and give you one of these, and that would be really bad, to put a piece of metal straight through your hand. Yeah, I don't want to find out the recovery time on that, so I simply just grind the ends off when I can. Now, like I said, this is a 60D penny nail. I want to bring out a couple other nails that you can see. So this one's considerably longer. This would make, and it's the same thickness or diameter. This would make this considerably easier because you can gain leverage if you bring your hands out. Now, this is good for like a beginner or something like that. In my opinion, you can start to bring your hands in and increase the, increase the difficulty of it. Other things that you can bend are available at ironmind.com, and they, in order of easiest to hardest, they have a yellow nail, a blue nail, and then a red nail. And yellow is considerably easier than a 60 penny nail. Yeah, I'll say considerably easier. A blue is a little bit harder, at least that's my understanding. And then a red is far harder than a 60D penny nail. I'm going to bring out one other nail. It's huge! This thing's huge, right? I found this at actually I was doing, funny enough, one of my friends called me up and he was like, "Hey man, I just told a bunch of my coworkers that you can bend these nails and they don't believe me. You got to come down here and I'll buy some of the nails and you can bend them in front of them." And so I was like, okay, whatever. So I went down there and I bent a couple nails for him, and then my friend Andy, actually, he pulled out one of these and he was like, "Do you think you can bend one of these?" And I was like, "I can try." So I tried it and I actually did wind up bending it, except I bent it on my upper thigh right here, and I had considerable padding on my hands. So let's get into the technique. I'm going to only talk about the technique of bending double overhand, and I will actually bend double underhand. So I'll do this without padding first to walk you through a little bit, and then I'm going to bend it and give you a couple pointers, and then yeah, that'll probably be the end of the video. So to begin, you want to have the pads on. Have pads. I'm just showing you the hand placement so it's a little bit more clear. Place it in the middle of your hand, and then take a grip and bring your fingers to touching. Now this is gonna give you better leverage to bend the nail. What you're going to do is you're going to bring it right under your chin, and you're going to force it down right here. We're keeping our wrists rigid, and we're forcing the elbows down, and we're bending the piece of metal. Now, a lot of people that see tearing or bending feats of strength, they think that people are doing that with their wrists. They're just doing it with their wrists. They're actually very isometric in the wrists, and the wrists can hold the wrists. The wrists will not bend at all, and they're actually levering the whole thing with their elbows, so they don't actually have to apply an incredible amount of force at the elbow, but they do have to endure an incredible amount of torque at the wrist, and so that's why isometrically the wrists have to be very strong to do these motions. That works for card tearing, that works for metal bending, and I'm sure it works for a couple other things. But we're not actually bending the wrists at all. We're actually keeping them rigid and levering the piece of metal in half. And so that's how you would do the top way. Now the bottom way, very similar. You can put it right in the middle of your hands. I honestly just run it until my fingers touch, and then I slide my hands out just a little bit, just like this. And my hand placement is right about here. And so it's pretty far in. Again, I'm touching my pinkies to bring that point of contact as close as they can be, so I'm not spreading, I'm not losing any leverage. The more that I scoot this out on my hands, so man, I wish I could turn this camera around, but I can't. The more I can get in on this, the greater leverage I'll have on the head and the filed down end to be able to bend at a single point. If I scoot my hands out, I'm going to be bending over a larger length of the nail, and it's not going to want to make such a sharp bend. I'm going to actually have to put a lot more pressure into it. And so again, I would take this and I would pretty much put it right under my chin, and then I would start to lever out and down, and I actually get a feeling of out. You know what I mean? I actually physically engage that muscle, or that pattern of bending outward, but it only looks like I bend down like this. Now sometimes I do kind of try and punch it straight down. You'll see how I do it, but that's the way I bend it, and by no means am I a master at nail bending or metal bending, but I would say that I'm adept at it. If you can receive information from people that are better than me at this, by all means do. You know, I don't want to be perceived as someone who's a master at this who is actually not. So I'm going to say this one more time. If you're serious about metal bending, you should get some leather pads for your hands. And I don't mean leather gloves. I mean like strips of leather. I think they're usually 6 by 12 or something like that. People usually wrap them around the piece of metal each end, and then they start the bend, and I'll show you what half of that would look like with a sock. So I would take about half of it, and I would simply roll it up really tight, and then I would do the same thing with the other end, and then I would start my bend with leather. Now socks, I've done it with socks. It hurts your hands. It's not worth it. I'm going to do it with a shirt this time around because I don't have any leather with me. And so I'm simply just going to roll this up. I try and keep it relatively tight in there so there's not a lot of slipping and sliding around. And so you can see that it's in here. You'll know where it is. And so I'm going to take my grip on it, and I'm going to put it right under my chin. Then this is the part that's going to go kind of fast, because something that I should note about metal bending is as you start the motion, you want to keep going. The metal will actually heat up, and it gets more pliable, noticeably more pliable actually, and it gets easier to bend and keep bending. Now if you stop bending, it will be incredibly hard to restart that bend and finish the bend. And so I'm going to walk through it real quick, and maybe I'll elaborate on some points after. But I'm going to take that grip right in the middle. I'm going to put it right under my chin. I'm going to pull it down and kind of press down. And you're going to see me right at the end. I'm going to switch to this, and I'm going to force the ends of this as close as I can to touching. So here we go. that's it. So it's all over that quick. And it is pretty important that you do this relatively quickly. If you don't, then you may not finish the bend. And so once you go, you have to keep going, even if it doesn't feel like you're going to get it. Got to unravel this thing. Okay, you can see there's a little bit of rust on the nail, but there it is. Now this is the same one that I ground down, and that has the head on it. I think there is a standard for how close these have to be, at least for if you're going to get certified with the Iron Mind red nail. I don't know what that standard is. You can look it up if you're very interested in it. I wish you could feel this because it's actually hot. It's warm, and that's yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool when you bend metal and it's warm like that. You can show people that. And there's actually a couple other things about this. Maybe one day I'll do a tutorial on it, but you can actually rebend this back and bend it backwards, then bend it back the other way, bend it back the other way, and this nail can actually snap. You can actually snap nails. It's really fun, and metal bending is something in general that's a lot of fun. It really amazes people, and the first thing people do when they get this is they're like, it's so funny. Or you can give them the nail prior, and you can be like, okay, go ahead and bend it. And they'll try, or you can put it in the braces or the wrap, and they'll try and they'll try. And a test to see if this is flat, actually, I'll tilt this camera down, is if it will roll and you see no wobble in it. Now, obviously, you would see a wobble. It wouldn't roll if it were even slightly bent. And so you can take it out and show them that they actually didn't bend it, even though they will swear that they bent it, because as they try to bend, the leather or whatever you're protecting your hands with will be a little bit more malleable than the metal, and it'll actually move a little bit, and it'll feel to them like they bend it, but they didn't actually, at least most of the time. A 60D penny nail is pretty tough. Like I said, you can get other special nails from Iron Mind for this, a yellow, or you can get longer things like this. I think this is a 60 penny nail like width, but it's like 2 or 3 inches longer at least. So for comparison, and that's it for the tutorial. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead and comment in the box below if you guys want me to do any other tutorials on different kinds of feats of strength. I could revisit card tearing. I could also do phone book tearing, or there's 1 or 2 other things that I can think of. But go ahead and comment in the box below if whatever you guys want to see, and I'll see you guys in the next video.